With bowl season underway, I want to go back and take a look at some of the banger performances by some of these NFL draft prospects. Welcome to the Stock Report, and what's crack-a-lackin'? It's your boy Broshmo, just in case you did not know. So go ahead, become a bro and subscribe. Leave this video a thumbs up if you enjoy the content as always. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Let's have that nice, beautiful football discourse. Special thanks to Underdog Fantasy for sponsoring the video. If you like to bet, whether it's weekly fantasy or maybe player prop bets, go ahead, sign up at Underdog Fantasy using promo code Broshmo, and they'll hook you up from the get-go. Bet responsibly, my friends, and let's go ahead, get into this sucker with Richard, and let me see if I get this right, Junanor? Or Gipidor? Gipidor. It's Gipidor. Nailed it, right? I'm terrible with names, sorry. But this dude was all over the field in the Cure Bowl against UTSA, knocking them suckers down, taking out the Conference USA champs. Legit, the dude was all over the place. 5 pressures, a sack, an interception, a forced fumble, had a fumble recovery as well. This dude had a banger of a game. Does have another year of eligibility to him, but that would make him one of the older prospects in the 2024 class. So really probably thinks he comes out. Obviously not the only prospect that did well in this game. We could talk about Carlton, Martell, but he's a bit more undersized. I think Richard Gipidor is probably maybe the higher end prospect here, as he was a former 4-star recruit. Initially did go to Auburn, but after a year decided to transfer over to Troy. But this cat, I get it, not the greatest size in the world. He's a bit undersized. He struggles to disengage from blockers and stop them from getting in under his pads. But this dude brings solid length. He has good bend. I think he's got high end like Y9 or DPR skills, DPR being designated pass rush only, and kind of reminds me a bit of Amari Barno from Virginia Tech last year. And I don't think he'll test out nearly as good, but even with Barno, he didn't get drafted till the 6th round. I feel like that late day 3 area is probably going to be a similar range for Gipidor, but this cat literally, he runs the spots on the field effortlessly. Freaking, what a word. It's an easy one. Effortlessly. There we go. Whether it's in coverage or whether it's against the run, or whether it's meeting a ball carrier at a designated spot or get into his spot in coverage. Because, yes, for all intents and purposes, this guy's playing a lot of hook zones in coverage. It's not like he's really running with a lot of people. Occasionally he will maybe run like a follow running back out of the backfield on like a swing or a wheel route. But I like this dude, man. I think he's pretty nifty. He could probably be a bit more consistent of a tackler. That's why I don't think we're going to see this guy too much in off coverage. He's going to come in on pass rush situations or passing situations. But for all intents and purposes, man, I love how this dude uses his hands. I think he's got one of the nastiest swim moves in this class. I came away from the UTSA game a bit shocked because I thought UTSA was going to put up some points, but obviously they were missing some playmakers there. And was it Joshua Cephas who had was it a DUI? I don't want to say it was a DUI. He had some automobile related incident with the police, and then obviously Clark went down to an ACL, a guy that might end up coming back. I think that UTSA team's going to be geared up for next year as well. I think a lot of their guys are going to end up coming back. But I came away big fan of Gipidor. If you're not familiar with him, then indulge yourself. He's a pretty solid prospect. Next on the list here, I try to do one per game, one prospect per these bowls. So if there's other prospects in the game, I'll try to talk about them. But we're going to go to the Wasabi Fenway Bowl for Yazir Abdullah, the edge out of Louisville. I talked about Yaya, I think last week. We could also mention Ivan Pace from Cincinnati, the linebacker, had actually a pretty stellar game. But Abdullah probably had one of the better performances among draft-eligible prospects. And dude had 6 pressures, 2 sacks, a fumble recovery. Like, legit, you're kidding me. The dude was exceptionally good. Is a bit of a tweener at his size, but I think that's A-okay. When we're talking about him, he's got a real nice first step, shows good straight line speed. He reads and reacts well when coming downhill, and when he does, he's coming with a full head of steam. Does a great job of getting physical. Like, this is a dude, he's one of the hardest hitting guys in this class. I think he doesn't mind getting physical and throwing bows, if y'all know what I mean, and does a good job squaring up and being one of the more sure tacklers at the edge position in this class. But you do look at that size, 6'1", 242, not ideal length, not ideal size. Doesn't have a ton of experience in coverage, but I mean, he was used more so in coverage in 2021, but by no means are we saying, yeah, this guy will be fine in coverage, just throw him back there. I don't really think that's necessarily going to be the case, but when they threw him back there in coverage this year, he actually did quite fine. I would say his length, lack thereof, does show up when it comes time to, like, not letting guys get it in under his pads. He's got to get real creative if he's going to free himself off blockers, and he's not like a guy that's like going to for sure wrap you up. He doesn't have that length to go all the way around. It's just kind of a thing, but really do think he's going to end up being a situational pass rusher. This is a cat with some special team experience as well. Definitely makes him draftable. I think we might see him in the Shrine Bowl. Not positive, but had a really, really good outing. On to Aubrey Miller Jr. out of Jackson State, linebacker, 6'2", 225. Played in the Celebration Bowl there against North Carolina Central, and he will be going to the Senior Bowl. He will. Now, this dude was all over the field. He is the current reigning SWAC Defensive Player of the Year. That's right. I said SWAC. SWAC. Don't ask me what it stands for. I just know that's the conference he plays in. But he is the reigning Defensive Player of the Year. Had a solid outing against North Carolina Central, 12 tackles. Had a pressure, only allowed 2 receptions. He's actually been pretty solid in coverage this year. Not a guy that's you're going to see a lot of ball skills plays from, not a lot of production in coverage. But he is a cat that will hit you hard at the catch point, and if you come up with it, you're going to be going down. He's a cat that will be even if you do catch it on me, minimal gain, you're not going to be getting a lot of yards after catch. I'm sorry, not sorry type of player. He is a thumper. I like the physicality to his game. If you didn't know, former Missouri transfer. Played there, I think, for about 3 years before deciding to transfer to get more playing time. And he's been with Jackson State, I think, technically 3 years. Like, he played the 2021 fall and spring season because they canceled their 2022 season or 2020 season. But they had like a 5-game spring season, which he took part in. And it wasn't until the following year where he became like a for sure, like, oh no, yeah, this guy has to see the field as much as possible. And they kind of did that. This dude's got a blitz and edge to him. Like, over the past 2 seasons, 45 pressures, 8 sacks on 203 pass rushing snaps. Kind of legit, very effective in that area. I like his short area quicks. Like, he closes in on stretch plays or swing routes exceptionally fast. He brings a ton, and I mean a ton, of special team experience. A lot of it coming from Mizzou, because that was about the only way he could see time on the field. A big reason why he transferred was, hey, why am I not playing a lot of defensive snaps? I think over his career there at Mizzou, he only played about 20 through his career, through 3 seasons. Granted, I think one was plagued by an injury. I think it was his freshman year. He had a season-ended knee injury, and then he had a nagging injury the following year. I want to say, I'm pretty positive. I think it was like a bone fracture in his leg or something along those lines. But this dude's an okay athlete. I wouldn't say a phenomenal. But again, I like the short area quicks, but in terms of long field, I don't think you're getting much. This guy is very much so a linebacker, kind of a thumper style that I think has enough quicks to make plays on the ball. I'm very interested to see how he will do at the Senior Bowl, and really can't wait. But let's go to the offensive end here with Brandon Kipper. Brandon Kipper, not Kuiper, but Kipper, out of Oregon State, because we actually had a few guys opt out of this Oregon State game. You had, was there Rajon Wright? He opted out of the game. But Kipper is probably one of the guys that is the least talked about among some of these more, well, I don't even want to say more like talked about prospects, because to be fair, like Oregon State, like a lot of people look at the defense and they're like, Mamma Mia. They look at the offensive line and they're like, if you're familiar with Georgia State, and they think, okay, Joshua Gray is kind of like the queen bee. He is the epitome of that line. But like Kipper really has played very solid for the Beavers last couple of years. Had a banger game against Florida where he had allowed only a pressure and no sacks, and they got some horses on that D line. Like this dude was a big part why Gervon Dexter didn't really do much in this game. 6'6", 330 pounds. Did play right tackle from 2019 to 2021, moved into right guard this season, and dude's got great size for the guard position, wide base, solid length, very strong, plays with good balance, as well as I believe he has a bit of a wrestling background. Yeah, he was a two-time state champion in Idaho for wrestling, so a bit of a wrestling background. Did play at Hawaii his first year. A little fun fact, back in 2017. But I digress. Yeah, this dude can be a mauler in the run game. He could also be a mover. He's going to have that mentality the NFL speaks so highly of when it comes to their run blockers. Very good grip strength. I imagine that comes from a wrestling background. But he will be one of the older prospects, if not maybe the oldest on the offensive interior, at least the oldest that I've looked at thus far. He'll be 25, I believe. Let's see. He will, he's going to be right up there with Brett, what was it, Nealon, the USC center. So those guys they're going to be fighting it out for who's the best, oldest interior prospect in this class. Though, I mean, if you're looking for center, then go with Brett. If you're looking for a guard, then maybe go with Brandon. But dude's just kind of a baseline athlete for the position. And I know you could get by being a lesser athlete at the guard position. That's why it's not kind of a big thing. But he does lack maybe desirable movement skills for an outside zone blocking scheme, which is kind of ironic because that's the one he played from there at Oregon State. He's playing in a very outside zone heavy blocking scheme there. And like he played well, but it's like when you get at the NFL, you know, you're facing different types of animals there. He does lack the quicks to move out to tackle, and that's why I wouldn't put him back there. Just doesn't have that. I mean, at 333, who would have thought he'd be a bit on the slower end? There are times where he could time his punches in pass pro better. And overall, I think his pass protection is something that does need a little bit more polish, a little bit more work. Too often times he's letting guys get it up and under his pads, which resulted, or at least has resulted, in holding calls over the course of his career. If you go back to like 2019 when he was playing right tackle, he was flagged 13 times, and then this year he was flagged 8 times there, moving to the right guard position. But you're getting one phenomenal run blocker. I kind of have him in his late day 3 territory. We're going to stick with the offense. This time, move into the LA Bowl with Jake Haener. First, I just want to comment on the LA Bowl. This bowl is called the Jimmy Kimmel LA Bowl. No one cares about Jimmy Kimmel anymore. Why has he got a bowl name after him? The hell are we doing? The hell are we doing? I kind of do want to first mention Cam Ward in this game, as I think this game was a good showcase of, yeah, he probably should come back. He is very developmental at this point, just too many errant throws, decision making, really doesn't throw with anticipation or timing, though that has been something he got better with as the season went on. But again, I think he really should come back. A guy that has a lot of tools, just ain't there yet. But we're here to talk about Haener, who a lot of people are going to deem this draft's Taylor Heineke. And I would say that's probably absolutely right, because this dude's a gunslinger. He might not have ideal physical traits. Like when you look at him, the size, obviously, playing undersized, doesn't have ideal arm strength. But he is a guy that throws with a lot of time and a lot of anticipation. There are occasionally some bad misses on easy throws, and that's kind of where you see the Taylor Heineke kind of dip in here. But this guy is gutsy. This guy's gutsy. He played a lot of last season banged up. This year, a little banged up, missed about, I think, about a month and a half during the middle of the season, did return. I mean, this Fresno State team is a very different team with Haener under center. Him and Jalen, Cropper, his partner in crime there, just been phenomenal. Another guy probably to mention, Jordan Mims. Don't know if he gets drafted, but someone that caught my eye who was it from Fresno State? Ronnie Rivers, who decided to opt out of the bowl game to prepare for the draft, and Mims kind of stepped up. Bit older running back, but I could definitely see him maybe like potentially making a practice squad in the future there. But just straight up, you look at Haener, you may not like the tools, you may not like the size, but at the end of the day, this guy's a gamer. He is a gamer that can throw with some good accuracy. Yeah, there will be some errant passes involved. He'll be let down by the lack of arm talent occasionally, but this is a cat that knows how to throw with touch. He knows how to throw with zip on intermediate to short passes. He's shown an ability to work outside of structure. He's a better prospect than maybe some people would give him credit for. I kind of like him in that mid to late day 3 area. All right, then we're going to go back to the defensive side of the ball here with my boy DeSean Gaddy out of North Texas, the Mean Green, or is it the Green Mean? I think it's the Mean Green. This is a cat that I found out has another year of eligibility. He could very well end up taking it. Kind of is what it is, but man, had a really good game against Boise State. JL Skinner decided to opt out of this game, and this was the cat that was on my radar going into the game, and he came up. The dude had a game, 6 tackles, pass breakup, only allowed 1 single reception for 6 yards, 6'2", 190. You gotta love the size, right? You gotta love the size with him. You're getting a pretty darn good athlete who participated in the high jump, long jump, and the 200 to 400 meter dash back in high school. And this is a cat that has experience playing safety and also playing corner. Like, teams are going to love this guy's size. They're going to love his athleticism. This dude has shown versatility throughout his career. Personally, I don't like this guy playing around the line of scrimmage in general. Though, like, the tackling hasn't nearly been as bad as it was back in 2021. Still, I think at his best, though, this is a cat that you've seen good ball skills from. He has 15 pass breakups on just this season alone. He's capable of mirroring receivers. He mainly, though, played in a very zone-heavy defense there for North Texas, and he just shows good anticipation, man. He's got good bursts coming downhill. This dude's blown up screenplays, blown up swings. He's just got a knack for knowing where the ball is going to be. Allowed a 48% passer, or not passer rate, but a catch rate this season. Again, I don't love him. Like, I don't love his physicality. Like, I don't think this is a cat you want around the box. You don't want him up and jamming in the line of scrimmage. He's just, which is weird. This guy is, when he jams, he kind of throws two hands. He kind of leans a lot on like his, like he leans forward a lot, which, shoot, man, wide receiver, easy swipe, guys off balance, bam, I got like 3 steps on you now. What you gonna do? And that was something that kind of showed up in shorter yard situations. But like, far and away, man, this is North Texas' best prospect. There's a I don't know what it is. There's always one guy when I go to watch like North Texas that I'll like for the draft. Last year it was their running back I really liked. I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but this year it's Gaddy, man. I'm a big fan. Had a great outing in the Frisco Bowl. All right, we're going to stick with green as we talk about Stephen Gilmore out of Marshall. Played in the Myrtle Beach Bowl, because we like to name bowls after cities now, apparently. We have Las Vegas, New Orleans, LA. Why not Myrtle Beach? Why not? Send it. Let's do it. I talked about this cat earlier in the year after the Notre Dame game, and he's put together a very good year, man. 3 interceptions, 8 pass breakups. He's allowed a completion rate of 41.8% on the year. He's just had a very good season. If the name didn't give it away for you, yes, he is actually the younger brother of Indianapolis Colts corner Stephon Gilmore. And he's 6 foot 170. You're going to look at that size and you're going to be like, ugh. Yeah, I know the size ain't great with him. You would wish he'd put on maybe another 5 to 10 pounds. But this dude's such a quick and smooth athlete. He shows exceptionally greasy hips. Like, this dude's so fluid in transition, especially he explodes out of his back pedal. He shows good change of direction. Like, I think this dude could legit play deep safety if you want him to. I think, I love his movement skills that much, but with that weight, there's gonna be concerns about his length, his size, his play strength. Like, this cat, you just don't, quite frankly, you don't want in the box. The missed tackles weren't really a thing this year, but if you look at the previous season, 24% missed tackle rate. It's not great. So yeah, you don't want him in the box. He cut down on the penalties this season, only 1 penalty on the year, opposed to 13 over the previous 2 seasons. But because of his size, he's probably going to be looking at like late day 3. But you look at this cat and he's like, man, this could be a center fielder, though in an NFL that's moving more towards having this too high looks. So if you're a team looking for maybe like you go in cover 1, you're playing cover 3, or you're looking for a center fielder in some way, somehow, this is your cat. I mean, yeah, I still think there's a shot he makes it on the outside. In terms of what he's done in the slot over his career, not a lot of slot snaps to his name. You'd have to go back to 2020 where he played over 130 times in the slot, but still then he was primarily an outside receiver, but had a really good game against Connecticut. I know Connecticut, but I mean, Connecticut was a team everybody was rooting for this season. But had 3 pass breakups, allowed no receptions. That was on 4 targets this past game. So good showing from Gilmore. On to Kobe Turner from Wake Forest. Had, I thought, the best outing there at the Gasparilla Bowl. Yes. Brought to you by Union Home Mortgage. They are not a sponsor of the channel, but just thought I'd bring that up. But I guess people are going to want to talk about Sam Hartman. He had a good final game there at Wake Forest. A.T. Perry had a very good game, but I think the best prospect coming out of this game, because you also, on the other side in that Missouri game, you had Isaiah McGuire, but he opted out of the game. So I think the only other one, well, there was Chris Abrams-Drain, but he's returning from Missouri. So we're talking about, was it Darius Robinson, whoever the cat is on the interior there for Missouri. So not a lot to talk about with Missouri. I guess Javon Foster, but another guy who's yet to decide. He had actually a really good game. Is a tackle blocking. I think he only allowed one pressure on the day. But it's Kobe Turner who had the banger game. 6 pressures. Turned that into a sack, a forced fumble. This is one of the older prospects in the defensive interior class. Don't have an exact age on him, but I think he's going to be a 5th or 6th year senior. He did play for Richmond prior to the season, and the dude was freaking amazing for Richmond. There we go. He was co-defensive player of the year back in 2021, where they had the spring season. But this dude just play. He's just, if you want superlative, I can't even say the word. Just good football player. Straight up good football player. Great motor. Grinds reps out. Plays with violence. He looks a bit undersized. We won't be able to tell based on his tape, as this guy is constantly overempowering dudes. He's very, very much a north-south type of mover, so you ideally maybe you want him to be a penetrator at the next level. He is, again, a bit undersized, but not as undersized as some of the other guys in this class. In terms, it's just straight up like this guy plays stronger than he may weigh out to be, but he's very disciplined. He has been raved about by teammates and coaches, going back to Richmond and then here on the Wake Forest roster as just a guy who is first in the film room, last off the practice field. This is a guy that puts in the work. He is a leader, and you just love to hear that about him. 6'3", 290. Big fan of Kobe Turner. I was talking about him early in the year. If you didn't know, now you know. All right, on to Daryl Looter Jr. out of South Alabama, and there we go. We talked about Jalen Wayne last week, and ultimately I came away not being the biggest fan of him, but I loved Looter. I thought he may have would have came out in last season's class, but decided to come back for another year. The production wasn't quite as good, at least in terms of coverage. Like, he had 3 less interceptions, 4 less pass breakups, but this dude was still playing balls to the wall, really good football. He's going to the Senior Bowl, had a really good outing in the New Orleans Bowl against Western Kentucky, and that ain't saying much because South Alabama, they came into that game and bent over and took whatever Western Kentucky was giving them. But had 5 tackles, 2 pass breakups, allowed 5 receptions, but that was on 9 targets. Western Kentucky was literally getting whatever they wanted. But solid outing for him in a game that was not great, not ideal. 6 foot, 180, real good length, and like we're talking like real good. He might measure out with 34-inch arms. So extraordinary length. This man just understands the game of football. He understands route concepts sometimes better than receivers. He does a great job of disrupting timing in the route. He's very discreet with his hands. This is a guy that gets handsy, but has not been flagged a lot over the course of his career. As we go back to the last 3 seasons with South Alabama, he's only been flagged 6 times. That's an average of 2 times a season. He is a former JUCO player. Initially went to Pearl River Community College, where he played good football. He played a lot of good football. But yeah, man, I'm a big fan of this cat. Sure tackler, 6% missed tackle rate this season. The year prior, 8%. So yeah, who would have thought, man? At that length, it ain't so hard wrapping these fools up. A guy that knows how to disrupt routes with his hands. Probably the biggest knock on him outside of level of competition, which he'll be at the Senior Bowl. Definitely a guy to check out. Is he's not the most high end of athletes, But if you have that type of length and you can play with that type of physicality, sometimes it doesn't matter. Even if you're just an above average athlete at the corner position, you could still be a very efficient one. And that's what I'm betting when it comes to Looter. And then the final guy here on the list is Jose Ramirez out of Eastern Michigan. They played San Jose State. And honestly, this wasn't his best outing, but I already talked about on the San Jose State end. Let's see if I got a pronunciation. I don't. But Fehoko, the other edge there for San Jose State on the opposite side, he basically had a very similar game, only 3 pressures. But when it comes to Ramirez, haven't talked about him on the channel yet, so I was really trying to make an effort to. This cat actually, had no idea. I thought he came straight from JUCO, but played a season with Arizona, so here in my home state. Played 1 year, didn't play snaps, really just practiced with the squad, ended up transferring, and I should mention, back in high school, played receiver, edge, cornerback, safety, and linebacker, so this man's been everywhere on the field coming into school. Ended up playing 2 years, I believe, or no, it was just 1 season at Riverside City Community College, and then he would go on to transfer to Eastern Michigan, and from there, the rest is history. This guy has been a monster for Eastern Michigan. 6'2", 252. This guy gets off the line with a fairly good burst. I really do think this dude has, I would say, above average burst in this class, and we're talking about a very good edge class, so that's still pretty darn good. He is a bit shorter than you would like, but I mean, compared to your average edge player, but he uses that to his advantage because he plays very low to the ground and he's consistently getting good leverage. Like, leverage is his game, man. He hits blockers with strong hands. I really like this cat's bull rush. He's very light on his feet, very smooth mover. You could see this on stunt plays as he gets to the quarterback so quick, like the guard or center, whoever's like meant to pick up on that gap, has no time to react. No time. No time. I love the violent movements. He's a guy that plays with his hair on fire, making plays on opposite sidelines, even sometimes downfield. Coaches rave about this guy's leadership. He's been a captain the last 2 seasons. Some of the hang-ups with this guy, though, is not much of a, like, you hardly ever really seen him be utilized as a stand-up pass rusher. For all intents and purposes, he's playing with his hand in the dirt. So he's playing from 3-point stance. And honestly, his best tape is when he's either right over or just outside of the tackle, somewhere between like a 5 to 7 tech. Maybe even in some cases 4 But this dude just wins with power. He's so stinking strong. But the bend, it's meh. When it comes to pass rush moves, it's meh. He doesn't have a large toolbox of pass rush moves. There's a lot to be left desired there. I think more times than not, he doesn't really come with a pass rush plan. But I would also say, too often than not, he kind of like leaves his strike zone here unguarded, and his hand usage could be a bit better. Too many times he's bringing guys back into his pads to enable them to actually get up under his own. So there is that, but this dude came out, like, he had kind of the breakout year in 2021, 36 pressures, 10 sacks, and then this year he ended up being Mid-America or Mid-Atlantic Conference defensive player of the year with 49 pressures. Once again, 10 sacks. I think he's going to be at the Shrine Bowl. I'm pretty confident he's not going to be at the Senior Bowl. But, man, if he could end up being a late entry, that would be pretty wild because I kind of like this cat. I kind of like him. Like a Mamma Mia, we're talking mid to late day 3. And I mean, for the most part, I think with the guys I talked about on this list today, I think only one of them are, 2 of them I really would consider. Yeah, only about 2 of them I consider in that potentially top 100 day 2 range, being Looter and Kobe Turner. But these are some good like day 3 prospects to look up with. They're gonna be showcasing their skills in either the Shrine or the Senior Bowl, the 2 premier All-Star Bowls of the draft process. So be on the look for that. That's it for the video. Go ahead, do the YouTube thing. And as always, until next time, you be easy, my friends. Later.